Today we're going to go over the field stripping or assembly disassembly of our OTF knives. The three knives you see are the Mini Raven, the full-size Raven, and the Titan. All three of these knives are assembled and disassembled the same way. Okay, so the first step is going to be to remove the pocket clip. You do this by taking your tool, and this we're using a T8 Torx key. In our care kits we supply this. So you're going to slide the Torx key into the glass breaker hole and just give it a counterclockwise turn, and then you can finger loosen the rest. Once the clip and breaker are removed, the next step is to disengage the blade. To do this, eject the knife and then grab it at the top of the blade and pull the trigger back. This makes the blade float inside of the handle. Now we can unscrew the handle. Use your Torx key and gently unscrew each of the 6 T8 Torx key screws. Once all the screws are removed, you can now remove the top of the knife and expose the internals. All right, we're going to go over disassembling the mainspring from the mainspring slide. The first step would be to turn the slide over and pinch the slide and the spring between your thumb and index finger. You can then press on either one of the teeth that are exposed to remove the spring from the spring slide. The spring is consisted of 3 components: the main spring and the top and bottom hook. The main spring and the hooks connect to the main spring slide. We have a proprietary spring with proprietary coatings that are both corrosive resistant and strengthening. Our slide is also proprietary and skeletonized to reduce weight and increase firing. To reinstall the main spring to the main spring slide, simply grab the spring with the large tooth facing into the mouth of the main spring slide and simply stretch it over to the front of the main spring slide. Next, we're going to go over removing the blade from the handle. On this step, you're going to notice that on the top and the bottom, there are 2 blade latches. These latches are what secure the knife in place when ejected. That keeps the knife from going back in when stabbing. To remove the blade, simply lift up on the top latch and the bottom latch at the same time and slide the blade out. To put the blade back in, simply slide the blade back in slightly while lifting up on the top latch. Hold that in until the very end. When reinstalling the top, make sure that the blade is slightly pushed out and not fully in or out. So once your knife is taken apart, we're going to go over the basic maintenance tips and things to look for. First thing we'll do is we're going to take a look at our mainspring and our mainspring slide. When inspecting this, you want to look at the spring and just make sure there's no debris or buildup of any material. Because our spring does have that proprietary coating, there isn't a need to oil it or put any other lubricants on it. If you do see some dirt or buildup, simply take a Q-tip that has some water applied to the front and just lightly brush it over, removing any debris or buildup of dust or dirt. Once that's done, use the other side and lightly brush off any excess, and it's good to go. When inspecting the main body, you're going to simply look inside the blade tracks and make sure that there's no buildup of debris or any other material. If there is, again, simply use a Q-tip with a little bit of water on the tip and just simply wipe it away. With the blade, just simply check to make sure that the metal is straight and that there's no chips or imperfections in the edge. You'll also want to make sure that there's a nice gleaming, sharp reflection on the blade to signal its sharpness. Now let's reassemble our Raven 1 OTF knife. The first step is to put the blade back into the handle. Gently pick up the blade, insert it into the handle, and get it up to the blade latch. Lift up on the blade latch and push the blade in about halfway. The next step would be to put back in the main spring slide. Make sure that slide moves back and forth with ease. To reinstall the trigger, push the trigger on top of the handle and press with your thumb to hold it in place while you reapply the top of the handle. The trigger should slide back and forth with ease, but be secure in the handle. Now, screw in the screws. Make sure not to over-tighten. A quarter turn past stop is generally enough. The next step is to re-engage the blade. To do this, firmly pull up on the blade till you hear a click. The blade is now engaged. Now we're going to reapply the glass breaker and pocket clip. For left-handed use, the pocket clip could be applied on the screw side. For right-handed use, apply it on the non-screw side. Simply hold the clip in place while you screw in the glass breaker. Once hand tightened, you can use your T8 Torx screwdriver to give it an extra snug turn.